The old woman said the dog was dying. She was combing the dog's hair while shedding tears. The old woman said, Sandy has been with her for 10 years. The dog is dying. The old woman felt very sad in her heart. The dog gave her a hand, comforted the old woman not to be sad. The old man said, a year ago he had a small lump on his body. Now the dog's body has begun to deteriorate. Tumors are all over his body. The biggest one is like a pumpkin. The old man patiently wipes the dog every day, but it didn't work. It's hard to imagine the pain the dog was going through. The dog has lost all its vigor. He's lying in the house, not eating. There's sadness in the dog's eyes, not a smile on his face. The old man said he took the dog to the vet clinic, but the doctor said there was nothing he could do. Because of his family's difficulties, he couldn't afford to take the dog to a big hospital. The old man was very sad when he thought of this. When the dog saw the old man was so sad, the dog put his hand to comfort the old man and told the old man not to be sad. The scene is very touching. The dog hasn't eaten for days. The old man passed the food bowl to the dog. The dog is so sick that he can't eat. The old woman makes a pot of bone soup. The old woman brings the dog a pot of bone broth. The dog barely eats a little, but the dog's health deteriorated day by day. The dog lay helplessly on the ground, waiting quietly for his departure. They could only watch the dog suffer. There's nothing they can do. The program team invited a veterinarian to do a preliminary examination of the dog. The largest lump is 20 centimeters in diameter. The doctor's expression was grave. The dog needs to go to the hospital for treatment. Can the dog be cured? Under the arrangement of the program, he took the dog to a big hospital, but the dog refused to leave the house. He doesn't want to leave the house. He was afraid that he would never come back. Accompanied by the couple, the dog set off for the hospital. Sandy looks out the window at the sunset. He wished he could be with the old man more because of the long journey. Arrived at the hospital, the doctor said the dog's condition was very serious. He needs an operation right away to remove the tumor from Sandy's body. But due to the dog's age, we can't use anesthesia during the surgery. Only tranquilizers can be used. The old man stood by Sandy's side. He stroked the dog's head with both hands. He kept talking to the dog and calmed the dog down, but Sandy kept convulsing in pain. The old woman looked at the dog in pain. The old man couldn't watch any longer. The operation took a long time, but the strong dog endured the pain. He didn't scream at all. After hours of work by the doctors, the dog was soon able to walk. He walks much more easily. The dog walks to the old man. The old man stroked his head. He praised Sandy for being a brave boy. At this moment, the dog regained hope in life. He smiled for the first time in a long time, but it wasn't as simple as he thought. The largest mass has been removed, but he still has many other lumps all over his body. We still need to wait for the results of the tests. Within a few days, Sandy collapsed. The dog had tears in his eyes. It turned out that the test results were very bad. The malignant tumor had spread to the whole body. The old man did not know what to do, although he was prepared for it, but they still couldn't accept the result. They stood by the dog's side. Tears could not stop flowing. The dog snuggled in the old man's arms. His face was filled with sadness. Perhaps the dog knew he was going to die. He dug his head into the old man's arms and sobbed. The dog often convulsed with pain, but he always endured the pain. He never cried out, because he didn't want his master to worry, and he didn't want his master to feel bad about it. In order to make the dog feel better, the doctor had to force the dog to stop the pain. The old man said the dog had suffered with him. As long as the dog is more comfortable, they would feel better. The old man took the dog outdoors to spend more time with Sandy in the remaining days. On the advice of the doctor, they finally made a bold decision to donate Sandy's corneas to blind dogs. The doctors screened the dogs for matches, but most of them don't match. After the doctor's screening process, one blind dog matched Sandy's corneas. On the other hand, Sandy's condition is deteriorating. They stayed at the dog's bedside day and night. Although the dog can no longer stand, but he still tried his best to respond, though they took good care of him every day. But the dog couldn't even drink water. The old woman held the dog's hand. Suddenly, the dog gave his last ounce of strength. At that moment, he wanted to get up. He wanted to go home. Maybe he couldn't let go of his master. Maybe he didn't want to leave this world. He wanted to find a place far away from his master. He didn't want to see his master sad. He struggled for a few moments and then went quiet. The old man pressed his head against Sandy's heel, listening to the dog's last thoughts. The old man couldn't hold back his tears. The old woman can't stop wiping her tears. The dog seemed to be saying, "Please don't milk me, master. I'll be your child in the next life." As his heart slowly stopped beating, the dog closed its eyes quietly. It went to another world, although it never came home. but he had no regrets, because he had an owner who loved him. Sandy brought so much joy to his owner. He lived forever in the old man's heart. On this day, a woman brought her dog to the hospital. He will inherit Sandy's corneas. The dog's eyes will be bright again. He was brought into the operating room by the doctor. After several hours of surgery, the doctor said the operation was a success. The lady smiled happily, since the dog has just undergone surgery. In order to avoid eye damage, the doctor puts goggles on the dog. Soon after, Sandy's other eye was found to be a match. Although Sandy was already dead, but he stayed in the world in another way. May he be well in the other world. Maybe there's no sickness and pain there. The dog has been with us for 10 years. He has long been more than a dog. He is not only their good boy, he's also their family. In closing, may Sandy be well. May every dog live a long and healthy life.